Burr, burr, burr.
Welcome back to Dicing with Death, everybody. So, we go with the elves.
Yeah, so should we just move on to the following morning?
Mhm.
All right. Qualnir has met three elven brothers who are traveling back to the elven homeland, to the capital city of Feanir. They have agreed to let you travel with them, and you will leave at dawn. Did you already pay for this inn room? You did not.
I
So
did.
five.
I pay. Oh no, that was the previous one.
Mhm.
How
So
much?
five silver.
Okay. Paid. And then we go with the elves. We do it the elven way.
Okay. So just after dawn, they strap their brilliant white horses to the wagon and head out the southern gate and immediately head off road to the west.
Off road.
Off road. The way is not exactly rough. I mean, the ground is damp, but it's a nice, healthy forest. So the trees aren't too close together, and so there's space in between the trees to run your wagon.
Okay.
And you bump through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Large evergreen trees tower overhead as you wade your way through the mist. Um, uh, Maybe an hour out of town. Roll some perception checks. Oops, that's not what I'm looking for.
Qualnir gets a 20. Michelle gets a 21.
Um, Michelle spots something moving in a bush about 40 feet from where you're currently standing. On closer inspection, it appears to be a small humanoid creature. Yeah, moving through the brush.
Michelle will nudge Qualnir and start to load her crossbow surreptitiously.
Yeah, so Qualnir looks. You don't have a very clear line of sight to the creature, but it looks to be maybe 2.5 feet tall, crouching in a bush. What's that?
Brownies. He
Why would you
whispers
say
underneath.
that? Qualnir does know that. I mean, brownies are.
Are creatures of the Elfwood? Yeah,
Yes.
that's little hacks. What the hell? Um, if he's sitting next to one of the other elves, he'll nudge the other elf and kind of nod in the direction.
Okay. Um, um, all right. You sort of nudge and you point, and he doesn't really get it. And he goes, "What? What do you see?" And he like blatantly looks into the bush. Um, Michelle notices a second and third creature have come from behind and joined this creature within the bush.
Nothing. Just how dangerous is this route we're taking? What if we don't expect any trouble from any creatures along the way, do we?
Once we have passed the borders into the Elfwood, we will be very safe.
In the
He,
meantime,
he shrugs. Hmm.
you're not worried
It
about
is what it is.
you're not worried about the diminutive people of the forest?
One can never be too careful. All three of them have swords at their sides, but
Okay. Qualner and Michelle will both kind of keep their eyes peeled, but will not take first action against the 2.5 foot tall little folk.
yeah. So over the course of the next few minutes, now that you're looking out for them, you spot several more of these creatures, seemingly from all sides. They seem to be trailing you, and they're moving through the brush and through the trees, keeping their distance so that they can stay hidden. As I said, it's sort of a sparse, old growth forest. I don't know, it's sparse, but like so the trees are huge, but there's space between them.
I shift my bandolier to be more easily accessible. Um, and I keep my mouth shut and keep my eyes on these creatures. And after, 2 or 3 minutes, I'll whisper to the elf next to me, "Don't you see those 2.5 foot tall things out there?"
You point them out, and he's, "Oh, what is that?" Um, he whispers to his friends, pointing it out, telling them to stay discreet. You can roll more perception checks if you want to
Is
try
it
and get a better identification of the creature.
is it still raining?
It's not raining, but it is foggy,
Okay.
misty, if you will.
Uh, what sort of check did you want me to make?
Perception.
18. Utter failure.
Okay. All right. You see what you see.
Okay.
Yep. These small creatures are trailing, following you.
Okay. We continue. Just doing our thing. I let the elves decide if they want to react or attack these creatures or not. I'm a little worried of attacking them and then the elves being like, "Oh my god, you killed my friend! We don't like you anymore! Get off of our caravan!" I'm trying not to piss off the elves and trying to suppress the bloodthirstiness that Qualnir usually displays. He also has a lot more respect for the elves and their abilities to combat him. He doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of humans, but in the presence of elves, he will reign in his reign of terror.
All right. The brothers' discussion, you overhear the word goblin thrown around. So you putting the pieces together, hey, these are not fey creatures. And they pick up the pace of their caravan, but they do not make it apparent that you've spotted these creatures, aside from the initial blundering.
I say again in Elven to the guy next to me, as quietly as possible. Should we fear these goblins?
Mm, the little goblins should keep their distance. They generally know when they are outmatched, but be on guard.
Of course. All right. We just keep going.
All right. These creatures trail you for maybe 20 minutes, and then eventually you lose sight of them and they don't return.
Hmm.
And yeah. So over the course of several hours later, over the course of several hours, you travel deeper into the woods.
Ooh. Okay.
You eventually meet up with this river and travel along it for a ways. How far do we? So going is quite slow. Um, weaving around trees, getting the wagon unstuck if it gets in a rut or anything like that. So you're probably moving about half the pace you would normally be able to move. Gradually, the trees grow larger and larger
Mm-hmm.
as you near the border of the elven homeland. And
Qualner gets a little uneasy.
uneasy going home.
They might know me for the killer I've become.
And just about nightfall. Well, nightfall comes. You're still in the woods, but the size of the trees would indicate that you've probably passed the border into elven territory, and you should be protected now. Although you have not seen anything, seen anyone, any other elves. And the brothers begin preparing camp.
Okay. I help them set up camp and yada 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 yada.
Yeah. Yeah. So you set up camp. You guys start a small fire. Yeah. There's a peaceful quiet in this part of the wood, but there is this overwhelming sense that you are being watched
By elves?
by elves or perhaps by the forest itself. It's 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 a familiar sensation, but it's been a long time since you've been here, so you had forgotten.
That's probably why I got out. I was being watched.
Yes. Okay, you make camp. Anything special you want to do, or go to bed? Do you take watches?
Yeah, Michelle and I will split watches if the other guys don't want to, but I suggest to them that we take watches.
They tell you that we are safe here. We are we are home, brother. They give you a smile.
Maybe it's been too long, but I don't trust the safety of this place quite yet. I will stay up and watch if you refuse. And Qualnir will keep an all-night vigil by himself.
You don't have Michelle stay up?
No. No. Oh, I should change some of Michelle's spells, though. Michelle will get rid of Detect Magic and change it to Change Self. And she will get rid of Insatiable Thirst and get Invisibility. Okay, done. Next day.
At some point over the course of the night, Qualnir rolls a perception check.
21.
You think you can faintly hear music off in the distance?
Qualnir will nudge Michelle awake gently and go, shh. Music, come with me. And together they will try and sneak up after that music, looking for the source of it.
Yeah. Okay. It appears, or it sounds like it's coming from what you would guess to be the southeast.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that the clouds have cleared, and you can occasionally see the moon between the trees. You walk towards the music, and it grows louder.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Let me know if I stray more than 50 feet from where we've camped.
it's you. So you strayed 50 feet from where
Okay.
you've camped. The music's growing louder, but you still haven't located its source. It sounds like fiddles.
Well, shit, she hasn't memorized invisibility yet. Or change self yet. I will send Michelle back and I tell her if I'm not back in 20 minutes, come rescue me because I'm being held captive. Don't leave me behind. And then Qualnir goes off on his own, looking for the sound of the fiddles in the woods at night, in the elven woods.
Yeah. So you approach what looks to be a hill covered with brush on top.
Mm-hmm.
And you reach the top of the hill and peer through the brush, and you reveal a small glen below.
Mm-hmm.
In the center of the glen is a small stone cave, and fluttering around the cave are, let's see, maybe close to a dozen large moths fluttering around the cave. The source of the music seems to be this glen. You don't see any fiddler, but the floor of the glen is populated with small toadstools, actually large for toadstools, as big as like a foot in diameter, red with white spots. And the moths appear to be flapping to the music.
What the fuck? Qualnir will lie in wait for 10 minutes, watching, waiting.
Nothing changes. The scene continues as I described it. The
After
sound,
10.
the sound of fiddles and moths dancing in the moonlight.
God. Alright, I'm gonna make a willpower check, because he's got 4 willpower, and I need to know what he's gonna do. 22, he heads back. Goes
Okay.
back. He heads away from the sounds and returns to camp. Thank God.
What's the worst that could have happened?
Why don't I tell you later? I returned to camp and tell
Right,
Michelle what I saw, and then
all
stayed.
right. The sound of faint fiddling continues through the night, and eventually morning rolls around. You think you may have dozed off for an hour or two, but you're not entirely sure.
No, we're alive.
And filtered sunlight starts to rise in the east, and you pack up your camp and continue along your way.
Yes, yes. Cool.
Okay. You travel southwest for several hours. Roll a perception check.
I keep avoiding your encounters. I don't want to.
These aren't always encounters.
I want to be engaged by them. Yeah, 18. Ugh.
You do notice that the sun never quite seems to rise. I mean, there's a huge canopy overhead, so you don't exactly have the best view of the sky, but the filtered pink light of sunrise continues. It persists into the morning. What are you drinking there? It looks like
Iced
you're
tea.
in there.
Iced tea. Constant comment, iced tea.
Yum.
There's a whole big one of these things with it. This is not. This is kombucha that Lauren's making, but a similar sized one of these suckers filled with iced tea.
Yum.
Yeah, we just keep proceeding.
Proceeding.
Yes, proceeding, not preceding.
Yes. Yes. All right. You wander deeper into the woods, under the perpetual light of the sunrise.
Okay.
Um, roll one more perception check.
13. Oh god, I can't see shit.
Okay. You see nothing approach until a voice in front of you utters in Elven, "Welcome, comrades. State your business." And you see before you a tall, at least by Elven standards, Elven male, wrapped in, you know, the neutral greens and grays and greens and browns of the Elven style, bow draped over his shoulder, standing in your path. You do anything, or do you let the merchant speak?
I let the merchant speak
Okay.
for a moment. I want to at least hear what they're gonna start off with.
Yeah. He says, "Ah, greetings, Saladil. It is good to be home again. We are just returning from with a shipment of steel."
My name
Just
is Qualnir, I say, speaking up from the back row. I am a traveler coming from Solstice in order to speak with Issaquah.
I am not familiar with this name, but you are welcome home, friend. And he looks to Michelle and then looks back to the brothers and nods and says, "You are free to pass." And he slinks back into the trees.
Sweet. I have 2 bottles of wine? I have 2 bottles of wine. I have, what's his name's wine?
Whose wine? Is that
Uh, what's his name?
is that
The
was that Kierkegaard's, or
Yeah,
did you just get this
Kierkegaard's
from someone
wine.
else? Okay.
And I have 2 potions that a heroism potion and an aquamarine potion.
You drank the aquamarine potion, you cheater.
Okay. That was the
That was
one that I drank.
that was the fire breath potion, wasn't it?
Yes, there we go. I was
Trying
really
to,
hoping it was a potion of healing. Turned out
trying to
not.
pull one over on me.
All right. What now?
You continue walking forward.
Okay.
By which you assume would be midday, although the sun has not risen in the sky. Its hues have changed from pinks and reds to deeper shades of purple.
Mm-hmm.
But still no sign of the sun. Within maybe an hour of seeing this elven scout or whatever he was, you can see over the treetops brilliant white spires of the elven city of Feanir.
Yes. Is this the town that I'm come from? From which I come?
Presumably. And you approach the spires yeah, you get closer to this to these spires, these towers,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you slowly find yourself amongst the city. It's not exactly there's not exactly a wall. There's not exactly an entrance. Just all of a sudden, you're next to a building,
Right.
and you know that there's more of these buildings tucked in the trees for miles around you.
Okay. Is there?
The the merchants bid you farewell.
I thank
You're,
them for their company and their passage, and I give them 2 gold coins for their trouble.
they tell you it's not necessary.
Oh, thank you. And I keep my 2 gold coins. Um, do I remember why I left this city, or does my memory loss was like in the city and then I was on the beach somewhere?
You can remember why you left the city.
Okay.
You can make up whatever backstory you'd like, or if
Do I
you'd rather.
remember getting on a ship?
Um, that's all up to you. You don't remember getting on the particular ship that you were on at the beginning of the camp, or that you were on just before the beginning of the campaign.
Right.
But you could very well remember
Okay.
leaving home by ship and
Okay.
having various other backstory adventures. So I'm leaving that open to you. Do you want to tell us anything at the moment, or
Yeah, I will say that I got on a ship in the Elfwood to go out and get away from the elves and kind of seek my fortune the way that I want to make a fortune.
sure?
And then I was on a ship for a while, and then I was on a beach. Unless you decide there needs to be some in between.
It's up to you.
No, I like that. Yeah, the start of my adventure is
Start of your adventure, right when you left home.
yeah, yeah.
Where do you think you picked up your less than reputable abilities? Because even a level 1 thief still has various skills that one wouldn't acquire normally.
Playing in the woods, like sneaking around, playing tag with my friends, or hide and go seek, or trying to like pick up spot something somewhere else, someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in fact, I would think I still have family left in the town.
I would think so too. I think you had said you had several siblings, and your parents probably still are still alive.
Let's avoid a homecoming reunion then. Well, at least I'm going to try and avoid a homecoming reunion. You do it as you please, Mr. DM.
Mm-hmm.
But Qualnir is not looking to see family right now.
Okay.
I proceed. Would I know anything about where Issaquah might be? Like, is there a local wizards chapter that meets every Friday?
Sure. You know that one of these towers is like a elven wizard's tower.
I will go seek out that tower, as long as I don't have any siblings that attend.
Um, Let me think. No.
Yeah, cool. I will seek out this tower.
Okay. Um, okay. At the base of the tower is a large rectangular marble building with a tower jutting out the top of it.
Hmm.
Milling about are several robed elves on the outside, practicing their spellcraft amongst the trees and toadstools.
I mumble to Michelle, these elves might have some interesting spells for you. Please see if you can't learn something while you're here. The elves have great knowledge. And then I approach one of the robed men, bow deeply, and say, "My name is Qualnir. I take it you are Issaquah?"
Um, no, friend, I'm sorry. My name is Galaneth.
My mistake. Do you... I was led to believe... And no matter. Is Issaquah here still?
Still, this name does not sound familiar.
He is the. He lived in Solstice for a time. Helped construct the city.
I'm sorry, friend. I know not of whom you speak. What did you say your name was?
I am Qualnir, the Dovachu Slayer.
What do you want to name your sister now,
My
or should I
sister.
make up her name?
You can totally make up her name. I don't care.
All right. Let's use some random name generators.
Good. Because I would have just called her something ridiculous.
All right. Her name is Alwell. Alwel.
Hello.
Alwell. Alwell.
Oh well.
Is Alwell your sister?
Yes, I do have a sister by that name, although I have not been home for some time.
I had the pleasure of studying with her before she went missing. He looks
Missing?
down and his voice trails off.
Studying? She wasn't supposed to be. What do you mean studying? She's not a sorcerer.
Strange gifts are hidden within all of us.
And what do you mean missing?
She's been gone for the past 6 months or so.
6 months? How long have I been gone? Spending time with humans really can screw with your head.
They have a strange perception of time.
Yes, yes. Uh, 6 months, eh? Well, thank you. Do you, perchance, have a registry of students and teachers here? I would like to see if I could find Issaquah's name in the records.
Our records aren't exactly public, but perhaps I can show you to my master and
Thank
he
you.
may be able to tell you more. What is Michelle? Is Michelle with you, or is she?
She is with us, yes.
Okay. All right. You are brought inside this large building and up a spiral staircase higher into the tower.
Hmm.
You knock upon a large wooden door. You hear, yes, yes. What is it?
My name is Qualnir.
Yeah.
I
So
assume
you're all right. So this young mage opens the door. You see an elder elf. The young mage says, "Elrohin, this man has some. This elf has some questions for you." And he says, "Oh yes, yes. What is it?" Looking up from a book. This room is stacked floor to ceiling with bookshelves. On the table before him are various magical baubles, a crystal ball, and
I look at him intently and I say, "Do you know a man named of the name Issaquah? Issaquah?
Issaquah. No, that does not ring a bell. Is he a student of mine?
Perhaps, perhaps.
I
He
never
was
forget the name of a student.
an elf that had come here. I would expect him to be with you. The elves I rode in with recognized his name. I figured he would be here, but if you never forget a student's name and you've never heard this name, he must never have been a student of yours."
That's very astute of you. The mage who led you here has since retreated.
He was a geomancer of old. Some 100 years ago, he lived in Solstice, helped them craft their city.
One of the stone shapers.
Yes, a stone shaper.
No, he would not be here. If
Where might he be?
most of the stone shapers are in fact uh, priests of justice, he
Oh,
says, all in Elven. There's a bit of a divide in schools of thought. I wouldn't imagine a priest would be hanging around this tower.
no, my mistake. I just assumed all stone shapers were wizards. My mistake. Thank you, old one, for your knowledge on this. And I give him a respectful bow.
He nods.
And just as I'm about to turn around and leave, and I say, my friend here, my traveling companion, is a wizard of some skill. Perhaps you could entertain her or show her to your libraries that she may peruse while we are spending time here. I'm sad.
He looks scornfully at Michelle. Have a roll a charisma check.
27? Michelle, show him that one that you do with the bright lights of different colors. I think he'd like it. She clearly doesn't.
She doesn't what?
Cast color spray.
Does she do anything?
She bows respectfully and politely and says in Elven, "My name is Michelle, but you can call me Mika. I am new to the arts, but would very much love to learn whatever the wise elves have to offer. Qualner has said many and great things about you and the powers resting here. I am oh so curious to see what talents lie beyond the lands of humans." Her attempts at flattery.
I doubt you. I guess he starts off by saying your Elvish is very good, but I doubt you have the patience to study under me. If you think that this is not true, then I am happy to let you through the trials, but I do not. I am not in the habit of opening up my library to every hedge wizard that wanders in.
Of course not. I would never expect you to compromise the integrity of your work by shortening it for one with so short for one so short as I, or with a lifespan so short as mine. I am merely curious as to the strength and the charms of the elven schools of thought and magic. It would be an honor just to observe you for the day in your work.
You may feel free to observe my apprentices at work in the garden, but I have many things to attend.
Of course. And she does some sort of respectful, graceful curtsy.
Yep, she has an etiquette proficiency, so she would be familiar with a nice elven bow.
Okay. And she will observe the apprentices and chat with them while Qualner goes off to the the priest's area, trying to find this Issaquah.
You realize you didn't get directions.
I return and ask one of the apprentices for directions because I don't want to piss off the wizard.
Yes, the courthouse is yonder.
Okay,
And you
go
get
yonder.
directions. You get directions to yonder courthouse.
Okay.
All right. Michelle hangs around the garden of outside of the wizard's tower, and watches the apprentices tend to the garden using their magical skills. Um, it seems, yeah, it seems to her rather inefficient. As in, she's like, they could probably garden even more effectively just using regular tools, but perhaps it's some sort of rite of passage or,
It's a Mr. Miyagi thing.
yeah. Prestidigitation on, prestidigitation off.
Okay. Qualnir will go to this courthouse and find the
Yes,
priest of justice.
yes, a large marble building held up by wooden pillars, each of which consists of a massive tree trunk. Around the building are more robed elves milling about.
Okay. I approach one of them and say, "Brother, could you show me to Issaquah?"
Issaquah's cabin is yonder.
Thank you. I go to yonder cabin.
Yeah, there are many residences nearby, but he gives you directions to one off a nice cobblestone path through some, yeah, past some flowers, to a small thatched cabin.
Okay. I rap on the door eagerly.
Just a minute, and you are greeted with an ancient elf, clad in yellow robes.
I pause for a moment to look him up and down and gauge his power level.
He looks like an old elf, but you were raised to respect your elders. You know that there can be.
The scanner says it's only 300. You'll be able to take him.
Basically, sure.
Cool.
Greetings, young one.
What lives beneath beneath the sewers of Solstice?
Come in.
I enter.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Yes, please.
I grow the rose hips myself.
Yes, I'm sure you grow many hips.
He prepares you a cup of tea. This one-room cottage is sparsely decorated. Small bed in the corner, a desk, a bookshelf, a little kitchenette where he prepares you this tea. My name is Issaquah. I didn't catch yours, my young friend.
My name is Qualnir, the Dobachu Slayer.
Qualnir.
I have a residence in Solstice. However,
Indeed. What did you see crawling out of the sewers? Was it one of the lensmen?
No, the lensmen are controlled by the diviners. They're quite tamed. At least
This
they
is
are
true.
these days.
Not many know that.
No. Other than
Well, what then? He looked. From the smell of you, you have been scouring the sewers. What did you stumble into?
your nose is refined. That was 2.5 weeks ago. I came across some sort of beast whose tentacles came out through the sewer grates, wrapped themselves around my ankle. I show him if there's any damage remaining. I mean, I'm at full HP now, but you know.
Not. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of scar tissue.
Yeah,
He
like my
slides
pants
the
are
tea
still
cup
like
across the table.
my pants are still ripped and torn. And I
Sure.
describe the tentacles as, you know, being spiky and rough all over and wrapping around me, and a voice entering my mind, looking for meat.
Yes, that sounds like an otyug in the common tongue.
Atyug?
Yes. Dung eaters. Nothing too concerning. Their their nasty bite is the worst you would have to fear.
Their bite is worse than their tentacles?
Maybe not initially, but if you do manage to escape, disease is almost guaranteed.
I'm diseased?
Were you bitten?
I was not bitten.
Hopefully you're fine.
What
You don't
else
look
lives
diseased.
what else lives beneath the sewers?
There are many secrets beneath Solstice.
That is why I have come all this way, is to learn of them. Tell me.
Solstice is an ancient city, older than myself. I probably know more about it than anyone, but there are even many mysteries to me. The city extends miles underground, cities on top of cities on top of cities. I personally believe that it was built in the Underdark first, and then came to manifest on the surface. Just the top stories. The sewers that you have bumbled around in are just the tip of the iceberg. The network of passages extends down, down, down.
That is a shame. I was hoping it was a isolated problem I could deal with.
Problems are often opportunities in disguise. When I was serving as the high priest, we repurposed many of the passages to make the sewer system that still exists to this day.
Are there any passages from the upper sewers to the lower city still intact, or did you destroy all of them or cover them with grates?
We did our best to seal off as much of the lower levels as possible, but
Do you,
the knights are still ever vigilant of creatures from the Underdark making their way up.
do you know of any remaining passages down below?
To where?
To the lower city? To what lies beneath?
Aside from the sewer system, which is reasonably self-contained, the only passage that should be open is guarded by the diviners. The All-Seer keeps a vigilant watch over those portals.
I guess I could ask the Sunblade a favor. I did save his life. He does owe me. I must say, I am slightly disappointed. We came a very long way. I had hoped you had more help to offer. But that is my problem, and not yours.
You have many years to live yet, Elf. There's no
None of
need
the
to be
sewers
impatient.
have anything to say about it.
Strapping young lad like yourself should have no trouble polishing off a dung eater.
Say, these dung eaters, they... You say there are many of them that live down below?
Well, if you lived off of dung, where would you think to settle?
I haven't quite thought of it that way. Well, thank you, wise one. Uh, if you ever have need of me or my services, you will find me in the newly built house next to the library. If it ever gets completed.
I am not often back in Solstice, but I thank you for your
That,
kindness.
that damnable Kierkegaard just so slow with his work.
Ah, you know Kierkegaard.
Yes.
Kierkegaard's Fyrfniblin. Ah, how's that old bat doing?
Running from giant rats that he ran into. In the construction of my house, he accidentally penetrated the sewer and flooded it with rats. Flooded my house with rats and dung eaters.
Always was a digger, that one.
Yes, yes. Well,
Mad for rubies.
you don't say, do you? He has an obsession with rubies? I noticed the necklace he carries with him. He's had for some years, he claims.
Yes, yes. Gem weaving was a bit of a family hobby, going back many generations.
You don't say.
Aye, the Fyrfniblins have a fondness for ruby.
Believe it or not, this has changed my journey from one of frustration to one of great use. I happen to own a ruby mine, and I feel that Kierkegaard may be interested in that as payment rather than gold.
Almost certainly.
Well, I smile broadly. Your services have been most useful. I must now go see to my family and my friends before I take the long and arduous journey back to Solstice. But by the way, though, would you call me a madman if I said that I heard a fiddle playing at night, but only found a circle of mushrooms and moths dancing to the fiddle beat?
No, that sounds like quite an ordinary thing.
Okay,
Good day.
good day. And I think on that note, we should take our third and final break before we find out what's
Yes.
happened to Qualnir's sister. Yeah. We'll see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.